Emery Tate versus Hikaru Nakamura. I'm sure most of you are aware of Hikaru Nakamura and are aware of his great strength. Well, in this game, Emery with the white pieces, the father to the famous Tate brothers, and an extremely capable chess player is playing him. I believe this game was played in the early 2000s and is a great clash between two titans. I just want to say, in this game, Tate was rated 2368 and Hikaru was rated 2666, which is a 300 point elo difference, which is pretty big. I'll try to give you an analogy. It would probably be the difference between like maybe a Premier League footballer and maybe like a championship footballer. Like they can still play together, but there's definitely a big skill difference, just kind of in the awareness of the game and technique. So that would probably be the difference. It's like they can still match against each other. The championship player is one division away from actually playing with, you know, the player, so it'll be a good match. But Tate, anyway, in this game really doesn't care about the rating difference and really puts on a great show, and quite amazing what he does in this game. So Emery Tate plays e4, his favorite way to start the game. Hikaru goes knight f6, called the Eliakin's defense, named after the great Alexander Eliakin, former world chess champion. Emery Tate goes e5. This is the most popular way to continue. As you see, e5 here, we're already chasing the knight, so we're putting our pawn deeper into the enemy's territory while attacking the knight. e4 is played now, it's kind of solidifying the center. I do want to say Hikaru did actually think that Tate would play c4 here, and Hikaru was told that after knight b6 that Tate was planning on going a4 after a5. Tate was planning to go for the crazy rook a3. And now this is I mean, there's not many openings in chess where you bring a rook out on the 5th move. This is stuff I used to play against my dad when I was first learning chess, and maybe you can relate to this. But this is actually played by world-class players, and it's a very respected line. This is what Hikaru thought Tate would have gone for. But Emery goes d4. Keeping it classical, keeping it very standard. This is the most popular way to do it. You kind of solidify the center, defend your central pawn. Hikaru now went d6, chipping away at Emery's center. You don't want to let your opponent have a really good center, so he chips away at it. And now Tate goes f4. Tate reinforces the center with another central pawn. Knight b6 is played, and also inviting Emery to go for the 4 pawns attack with c4. This would have been the 4 pawns attack, very aggressive, would definitely suit Emery's style, but he actually went knight c3. Hikaru takes here. Now, this is really not in Tate fashion, but he actually goes de5, exchanging queens. I think Emery Tate lost a couple games to Hikaru, so was a bit spooked. This pawn, now you allow a queen trade, and this is really not an Emery style, but he actually keeps the game extremely sharp even without queens, you'll see. Knight c6 is played, and now Tate goes knight e3. This is a really nice knight now, defends lots of squares, and maybe like knight b4 ideas might be annoying, so this knight just kind of keeps an eye on this thing, because you don't want to have to move your king and sacrifice castling rights. Knight e3 is played, and now Hikaru just plays a kind of really typical Hikaru move. Like, when I think of Hikaru, moves like this just come flying to my head, is g5. As you see, g5 is a nice move because it makes way for this bishop to develop, but you almost kind of sacrifice a pawn, but not really, because if this is taken, then you can take here. And now this rook's open, and you've got the doubled pawns. You don't really want doubled pawns in chess, so Hikaru would enjoy playing this. So that's why, after this move, Tate actually plays a really cool move here. And I haven't seen a move like this, I don't think ever. This is kind of a new pattern was entered my brain, is a4. He actually allows Hikaru to take here and hit the knight, because Tate had a great idea. He had the idea of a5, hitting this knight, because he wants his knight to move so he can hop into this square. And that would be really nice now, because we threaten the fork here, hitting the king and the rook, and we also threaten winning this pawn back. So Emery really wants this knight to move, but he's also left his knight hanging, so Hikaru just takes it. AB6 is played, and now CB6, and after bishop e3, Hikaru actually goes bishop g7. He stays calm like a professional and doesn't just kind of run into taking it, because the problem is there's no pawns here. As you see, this pawn's isolated, so there's no way for really Tate to get lots of defenders on this pawn. So Hikaru keeps it cool and collected and goes bishop g7. No need to rush. Typical kind of professional move. Tate actually plays a cool move. You can maybe try to pause the video and work out what move Tate played here. So if you did pause it and you did notice that this rook is undefended, Tate actually went bishop b6 here. And now the problem is, if this is taken, you can actually take this rook. And obviously Hikaru knew this, he didn't blunder it, but the thing is, after this, Hikaru takes with the bishop. And now, why didn't he take with the knight here? The problem is, as you see, this bishop here only controls actually four squares pretty much. And when this bishop comes here, it becomes an absolute X-ray. absolute X. It literally controls almost the whole, most of the dark squares on the board. It's just an absolute menace, so that's why Hikaru took with his bishop. C3 is played. It also comes with Tempe, hitting this pawn on B2, so Emery defends his pawn. Bishop D7 is played now, and I think Bishop F5 would have been a bit better, kind of following the principle of having really strong bishops, getting the bishop into an open space. But Hikaru's Bishop D7, Knight F3 is played. Emery develops his knight while hitting Hikaru's bishop. You probably don't want to exchange this bishop, especially because it's an open position. In open positions, bishops are kind of valued a bit more, because they just have so much free roam. As you can see here, this knight only controls, it can only control 8 squares maximum, but this bishop can control, well, there's probably just 8 squares on this diagonal, let alone. So it's kind of it's valued a lot more. So you wouldn't want to allow your opponent to take this lovely bishop. Bishop G7 is played, and now a Bishop B5 is played. Tate developing nicely. Castles is played, and now a Bishop C5. Tate puts his bishop on a nice diagonal. A6 is played. Hikaru doesn't like this bishop on this nice diagonal and wants to question it. Bishop A6, Bishop A4 is played, and now Rook C8. Getting this rook kind of off this diagonal as well. Castles is played, and now E6. This pawn was maybe at threat of hanging after, say, bishop here. Say something like this, maybe here. Maybe we can actually take this. And Tate can regain his pawn. He's currently down 1 pawn, and it's the central pawn. So Hikaru goes E6. Now maybe also restricting some squares here and defending his pawn. Knight G5 is played, however. 2 pieces now are attacking this. That's why Hikaru goes Knight E5. He kills 2 birds with 1 stone. He defends this, he gets his piece into a better position. Also offers a trade of bishops. Tate goes Bishop D4 here, looking to take, and after takes, take here to remove the defender. But Hikaru can now actually go Bishop A4. And after this, B5 is played. Hikaru is expanding while hitting the rook. Tate goes back to rook, back to the first rank. And the rooks are connected. You normally want your rooks connected. I think they say when your rooks are connected, they become bros or something. So Rook C7 is played now, and Knight E4. The problem is, after Rook C7, this Rook is defending this pawn. So this knight's kind of served its purpose here, and it now gets to a central square, because we're never really threatening. There's too many defenders. There's a king, Rook, and we can never win a pawn here. So Tate abandons the plan and goes to E4. Knight D7 is played. Tate wants to exchange this strong bishop. Tate accepts. King G7, and now Knight D6 is played. But the problem is, now we actually hit this, and we hit this. You might be thinking, what, we hit this? Yeah, you'll see. So after Knight F6 is played, this knight now disconnects this, and also this Rook defends. But the problem is Knight B5. We hit this, and you might think, okay, we can just take. Well, actually, your Rook is hanging. Rook B7 is played. Hikaru wants to win this Rook now with his Rook. And now Tate plays a cool and collective move, plays C4, just solidifying his piece. Hikaru can never take here because of the Rook, and you can never really take her as well because it's not good. You don't want to sacrifice. Rook's worth 5, Knight's worth 3. Especially in this position, Rooks control so many squares. Now Rook B to B8 is played. Rook B to B to B8 is played. And now Hikaru is threatening to take because this Rook will defend this Rook. So for that reason, Tate goes Knight D6. Rook A7 is played, providing support to this pawn. And now Knight B5 is played. I'm hitting this knight again. Again, you cannot take because of the pin. This is actually called a pin. And now Rook D7. Rook A6 is played. Knight E4. So Tate's actually up a pawn now. Knight E4 is played. Hikaru's position looks deadly though. He can definitely infiltrate here. You don't want your opponent to infiltrate onto your either 7th or 2nd rank. Especially with rooks, especially if they're doubled. I think they're called pigs on the 7th or pigs on the 2nd rank. And they're called pigs because nothing gets in the way. They eat everything. They'll eat all your pieces. They don't care. Now Rook C1 is played. And now Hikaru comes all the way to the 2nd rank. And you can see how annoying this is. With the knight, Rook, sometimes in your games you'll get the Rook on F4 and it threatens this as well. The combination can be absolutely deadly. Lots of checkmates have been produced with the Rook on the 2nd rank. I know lots of tears have been shed from my opponent's Rook coming on the 2nd rank. Not literally. and rook e1 is played. Tate plays rook e1, hitting this knight. Rook c5 is played now. Hikaru moves back his knight while hitting Tate's rook. But now Tate takes the same principle of moving your rook onto your opponent's 7th rank, in this case, because he's got the white pieces. He puts pressure on this. Now, rook b2 is played. The material's equal. Hikaru regains his pawn. The problem is knight d6. Now he hit this pawn. And now rook d8 is played. Emery takes. King g6 is played. And the problem is, if you go like rook d1 here, then you can actually take this, because notice how his knight is the only defender. So this is called a tactical, like, removing the defender, and you can take, and now you've got the rook, and you're up material here. Hikaru would be absolutely winning. So for that reason, Emery actually goes rook c7, hitting this knight, and out of dodge, but his own rook is also hanging, but that doesn't matter, because he takes back. And now, after rook d2, rook e6 is played. As you can see, Hikaru has kind of completed the objective of double stacking the rooks on this file. But Tate takes with check. He's also got strong rooks, and he has a passed pawn. He's up a pawn here. Actually, up 2 pawns. And after king f7, Emery finally plays rook e5, and this position is declared a draw. Both opponents agreed to a draw in this position. The problem is Tate's got the passed pawn, but if the game is to continue, Hikaru can just make a draw. He can mop up all these pawns, or he can just check here and just keep doing this. It's very strong. Hikaru will win back his 2 pawns, and with these rooks in the 2nd rank, it's just not enough. Tate's passed pawn is not enough. There'll just be a draw. Or, I mean, Hikaru, maybe if Emery slips up, could actually get a checkmate. So anyway, hopefully you enjoyed this video. I did actually record it once and realized it wasn't recording. Hopefully you got value out of it, and hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a likes up and subscribe, and let me know. I've tried to kind of make a different video in the way where I've kind of tried to analyze the moves in a more kind of beginner friendly way. And yeah, hopefully you enjoyed, and have a good rest of your day.